Martin Devlin is cynical about the calls from public officials that the world champion Black Ferns deserve lavish bonuses and pay parity with the All Blacks. Frankly, it's none of their business, he writes in this week's Playing the Ball column. Martin, why have you taken aim at the bonuses this week? It's obviously been a hot topic over the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, look, it's not the bonuses at all that is kind of raised my ire. In actual fact, since penning the column, that the Black Ferns I think get $25,000 each, and that's been drummed up according to the rugby union by several sponsors. I think Adidas were involved, and Sky, and maybe the ASB Bank, I think I read, and good on them. And I've got nothing against that whatsoever. The point of the column was simply that all of these politician grandstanders and bandwagon jumpers from both sides of the house, right across the spectrum, butt out. It's none of your business. And to put political pressure on the rugby union, I think is really unfair. I mean, this is an independent financial entity. They run their own ship. Why a member of the House who is not a member of a provincial union, therefore has no say at all in anything to do with the rugby union's business, thinks it's important to, well, I suppose they could answer the question. And this is just, yet more examples of, so-called political reporting, which I just find cheap and tedious and tiresome. The reporters are going to ask these questions. Of course, the politicians are going to answer. And of course, the answer they're going to give is the answer we all expect. Yes, pay them bonuses. Here's an idea. How about using that $300 million, $50 million waste of taxpayer money, merging TVNZ and RNZ, and actually spend some of that on these bonuses, if that's what you think. Look, it's like coming to NBR, and it's like going to Todd Scott and the politicians saying, well, all of us deserve a bonus. We've done well this year. We've written great columns, and we've got an increased customer base. We deserve a bonus. What business is it of yours, politicians, apart from none? And so that was just my argument, is that simply, look, if the rugby union want to do it, they'll do it. But if they don't have the money and they don't and they can't afford, or for whatever other reason that they may come up with and that they didn't do it, well, that's their business.
Do you think it was good that there was some public scrutiny around the issue, though, and the fact?
No, it's no one's business. Why is it your business? Why is it my business? I mean, it's exactly the same as somebody off the street coming in here and telling NBR how to run their ship. I'm sorry, we're a public entity. Look, it's just, the rugby union isn't made of money, and for all the shouting and all the screaming, at the moment the women's game hasn't generated a single cent. Now that's, I'm not saying that it won't generate a single cent, and I think that what we saw, as I said last week in the final, was terrific. But now you've got to kind of capitalise on that and monetise it. And I suppose the real truth will be when the Black Ferns play next year against Australia, because by the look of it, that's the only two games that we've got at home. Can you sell those tickets for the same price as an All Black ticket? Can you sell tickets to a women's rugby test for $100 to $150? When there's no World Cup attached, there's no concert and everything attached. It'll be fascinating to see how many people who are so committed to that team now will actually turn up. I hope that they do, because as I said, it was a wonderful experience at Eden Park. But at this stage, we don't know. You can't spend money that you don't have and that you haven't already generated. But again, that's just my look at it. I mean, if the rugby union want to do it, let them do it. But it's just nothing to do with any of us. They're not a publicly listed company.
Did you have any interest, though, in whether the players were going to get a bonus for the win? I mean, obviously, every time the All Blacks...
I hope everyone gets a bonus in every aspect of life. I think the nurses probably deserve a bonus. I think the teachers probably deserve a bonus. I think I probably deserve a bonus. But, this is the point. Whose business is it? Is it yours? Is it mine? If I come out publicly and say that the nurse... Look, I mean, I'm sure that if you went to all the politicians and said that, do the truck drivers deserve a bonus? Do the supermarket workers deserve a bonus? Why aren't these questions being asked if that's the case? I just think it's grandstanding is what it is, Hamish.
Okay. Surely that's the way to try and improve interest in the game and stuff, though, as well? Can you see that argument?
No, I can't.
Okay.
I just think it's jumping on a bandwagon, riding a wave of popularity. If that was the case, and I spoke to a couple of people from the rugby union, I spoke to Rob Nicol from the Players Association, and his attitude was fantastic. Prime Minister and all you politicians, come to the table then and help us work this out. Bring your checkbook at the same time. But if you're really that keen on rewarding, what about, the parliamentarians rewarding all our gold medalists from the Commonwealth Games? What about that? Why don't they get a bonus? Sport New Zealand has got $400 million in budget there. Instead of flying up 150 officials to the Commonwealth Games, Cycling New Zealand didn't have enough money to pay for our athletes to go to the World Champs in Wollongong. And yet they've got 26 different people on their management team, all on over $100,000. Maybe there's some rewriting of those budgets that needs to be done. But just in defence of the rugby union, my argument's simple that you can all sit there and shout and scream at them, but we don't run the place. We're not employed there. We have no say whatsoever unless you're a member of a provincial union. I'm not. Are you?
So you're not going to be contacting Todd and pitching the case for bonuses at NBR then?
Here we go. I can tell you. Here's the question: how many politicians are fully paid up members of a provincial rugby union? The answer is between none and zero. I rest my case.
Okay. All right. That's this week's Playing the Ball. Martin, thanks for your time.
Always.